In this tutorial we're going to have a look at cost codes and time types. Both of these are linked with timesheet entry. If we go up to the menu, we can see that this particular user type has got timesheet turned on. So if we click on the system settings, we can see that the time types and cost codes are now visible. If this user didn't have access to timesheet and wasn't a system administrator, i.e. they've got access to system settings, then they would not be able to access these two entries. So the first thing we'll look at is the time types. In a lot of organizations they will have standard time, which is for people's contracted time during the week. Then you may have overtime, you may have public holidays and so on, and you can have different rates for employees for the different time types. So this is where we edit a list of time types. The cost codes can be slightly more complex. The cost code is assigned to a user. So if you were using Rhino to feed a payroll system, then the cost codes should be associated or should mirror the users that you set up on the system. If you're not using it to feed a payroll system, then what a lot of companies do is they've got a generic cost code, which is the average cost, for example, of employing a particular group of people. So if we look at a cost code, and we just click on a cost code, you can see at the bottom we can have different cost demands. So if we click on this, and this is where we can actually go in and set a particular rate for a type of time for a person. Okay, so in this particular case I will set this at say £30. What I could do is I could add in another type of time, and it's now let me select overtime, and for that particular example I may do say £45. So if I come out of this now, so we've got two rates against this single cost code, and if you remember, against a user, when you created a user you defined a cost code. So this means that when this particular user now goes to log time, they'll be able to select from one of the two types of time, and it'll calculate the number of hours that they enter by the rate for the type of time associated with the cost code. A couple of little things to point out. If you only have enabled, if I go into the cost codes, if you've only enabled one type of time against the cost code, so if I click on overtime, edit, and I remove this, okay, so there's now only one type of time associated with the cost code. When this particular user goes to log time, Rhino will automatically use the one time type that's associated with this cost code, because there's no need to provide the user with the need to make a selection when they enter the time. This keeps the system really simple. So we've retained all the complexity, but we've made it really simple for the end user when they enter in their timesheets. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next tutorial.